Nobody is deserving of inside insanity. If the world's making you crazy, then it's fuck the world. Fuck anybody that doesn't understand you. Fuck anybody that doesn't want to bend to your needs or what you deem necessary. Fuck them. If they're not with the ride, then it's fuck them. And if nigga, it's not hate life. Nigga, make life your bitch. That's how I see it. Nigga, make everything in life your bitch. And if it's not accordingly, then how are we living? To love is also loving yourself. Now, and love is a very complicated thing. Look at love like a game. Everything is a game. Look at love like a game. If, in order for your partner to respect you, you have to respect yourself. But in the same context, you also have to compromise for them. So it's a very complicated idea. I was disappointed because obviously no one will be able to compromise for me fully because I would give my all and put my all into things, and I would just never be compensated for the love I would give. So, as far as compromise, for one, don't put your pride in the fucking relationship. The shit doesn't work. It makes the shit harder than it needs to be. It makes it complicated. It makes everything hard. Do not put your ego in a relationship. Do not be afraid to blow up your lover's phone. It's the ones that are annoying that love you. It's the ones that will sit there and blow you up for hours and check on you 24/7 and annoy the fuck out of you that care. It's okay to be annoying. Don't try and publicize. I'd say publicize your love in the same context. Like, show people you're happy. But when you start showing people what you've got going on in your personal life, that's when people feel the need to get involved.
This video is specifically different from all my other 3 first videos that I've ever made. And all this stuff that I'm gonna be talking about is just straight off the dome. I'm not writing none of this down. And I'm gonna try to get straight to the point because I talk a lot and I get off topic a lot. But, you know, no intro. You should already know that from the beginning of the video. There's gonna be no intro. I'm just specifically stating my mind and stating how I want to explain certain things, which is kind of difficult for me. But, you know, the true people who support me will sit over here and watch the video, even if it's boring or if it's long. True people will really sit here and watch that. And all this is going to be uncut. Like, I'm not editing this. All this is going straight into one whole video. All of it. So, with that being said, I'm going to just get to what I feel like should be known. And that is the people who feel alone. Obviously, you've already seen the first part of the video. If you are feeling alone, you honestly should... Okay, like, if you are feeling alone, then I most likely advise you to try to find, or not find, but surround yourself with people who can notice those things. Surround yourself with positive people and not negative people. Always have positivity around you. Because if you have nothing but negativity around you, then there's a chance that a lot of your thoughts and a lot of things you do will be negative. And the way the vibration frequencies is set up on specifically Earth is crazy. And in this time period too, it's just crazy. A lot of negative things in this world really gets overwhelmed. And it feels like there's no positivity in this world. And it just feels like you're alone through a lot of things. Excuse me. And like X said, I've also know what it's like to feel alone. You know, I could be around people. I'm just alone. They're not going to understand how I'm feeling. And they're not going to see the things that I see. For me, as a person, I see things differently from everybody else. If you think this way, then you think different from me. If you think that something is right and I think it's wrong, then that's the way you think. Now, if I said this is negative and you say this is positive, then there's a chance that one of us can honestly go down a very wrong road. And I say that because people nowadays, they don't necessarily see the things that should be seen, or they don't speak on the things that should be speaked on. Now, for a person that feels alone, that person will always sit back and be the quiet one sometimes. And people can never tell that. If a person is just really sitting there quiet and they're usually the vocal point of the group's voice, then there's a chance that that person already has the feeling of, I feel alone, and none of you are gonna notice it because I'm around y'all. I could be around y'all and still feel alone. And people will never understand that feeling of, I know that I'm here with y'all. I'm around y'all. But you guys will never understand of how it feels for a person to just physically be there, but mentally and spiritually be in a whole nother place, to a point where nobody can see that. People nowadays, they don't really notice anything from when a person says, I feel alone. And they don't necessarily understand what you're saying. They're like, oh, well, if you feel alone and be around people, that's not going to help. For the fact of feeling alone is the feeling of nobody really caring about you, or anybody really speaking up to see how you feel or check up on you. For me, as a person, of me feeling alone, I feel like I have to understand the reason why I feel alone. I talk to myself to understand why I feel alone. I have to talk to myself and think about the things that I surround myself with to why I feel alone. And it's not easy to really figure that out from time to time, especially if you don't necessarily know anything about the chakra flows. And figuring out the chakra flows and what every single meaning is, that helped me a lot. It helped me a lot to the point where it's like, all right, if I feel like this, then this is the reason why, and this is what I got to do to change it. That's one thing that helps me, as in myself, not feel alone. But for the people who don't understand that, there will be times where you will always feel alone. And I've went through years feeling alone. I went through years feeling like people just don't understand how I'm feeling or how I'm thinking, because everybody has their own way of thinking. And it gets to the point where you get frustrated and you get mad because nobody understands or see you feel alone unless you speak on it. And most of the time, people don't necessarily understand what you mean when you say you're alone. And I have talks with a couple of my friends and with a couple of my brothers. I said, hey, look, bro, I'm feeling alone. It's like I'm alone to the point where it's like nobody in this world will ever understand me. But when I kept thinking about it and thinking and just growing on and on and on and on, and you just keep growing for the simple fact, because I'm a person and we all have to grow to understand things. I got to the point where I wasn't alone anymore because I found the reason why I was feeling that way. And the reason why I felt alone was because I went through so much as a young kid. I've lost 2 little brothers. I lost my grandpa when I just started 2nd grade. My father wasn't in my life. I already had emotional breakdowns at a young age. I've already thought about suicide. I've already just thought about depression. I've already had trust issues and anger issues and a lot of that at a young age. And then my freshman year, I lost my mom, which really made me feel alone. So for my dad to come back in my life, it still felt like I was alone. Even when he was there for me, I was just alone. Like, nobody understood the feeling of not having your mom there, and your mom raised you your whole life, especially losing a father figure at a young age and not having siblings around you for your whole life. Then on top of that, you just don't trust no one. So that's a simple thing. People will never understand of why you feel alone. And the reason why you feel alone is because of the things you've been through and the things you just feel. And it hurts for people to not understand that feeling. So if you ever feel alone, please sit down with yourself and have a conversation with yourself. Or matter of fact, talk to somebody who will understand you to the point where you broke it down to them, like, all right, this is how I'm feeling. This is the reason why I feel this certain type of way. And it's the reason why I just feel alone completely. I feel like I'm emotionally detached from everything. I feel like I'm not there. I feel like my body's here physically, but mentally, emotionally, spiritually, my body, I'm just not there. I'm just not there. So for you to feel alone, you are not the only person who feels alone. You are the only person that's probably going through the situation by yourself mentally, because mentally it's just you. It's just your mind and yourself. Then on top of that, you have your heart. So your heart feels stuff too. Then your mind also thinks and also feels, which is, yeah, the love-hate relationship. When you separate those two feelings, though, you start to understand the thing. You start to understand the situation, though, that you're in. You'll start to understand the fact of you understanding the differences between what your heart feels and what your mind feels. And I could get way deeper into that, but I just don't want to stay on that topic. It's for the fact, if you feel alone, then go ahead and DM me at VLonVaughn on Instagram, Snapchat me on MC.Vaughn17. And I'm not shouting out my stuff just to shout it out. Like, no, like if you feel alone and you feel like you just need somebody to talk to or relate to you, then go ahead and DM me. I will most definitely text you back as fast as possible. And besides that topic, I also want to explain to the point of fear. And I'm slow into getting to it because, yeah, like I said, I'm just thinking. I gotta slowly think about this because I don't want to rush myself. If I rush myself, it's not gonna be good. So here's the thing: fear itself is not real. If you put yourself into a position where you're scared, you're holding yourself back. Now, if you just go do it and just do it, basically just go do it without even thinking about it, you will automatically be able to do that again. So if you fear yourself of getting into something deeper than what it is, there's a chance that you could overcome that. But there's also a chance where if you put in the pros and cons, then you will most likely understand what situation you're getting into. But if you know if it's a situation that's going to help you, like say you're in a relationship and you know things was going like good at first, then out of nowhere everything just changed, then it just changed your mindset. And you have the fear of leaving somebody for the fact that you've been around them so long and you just don't want to restart. But in reality, you have the fear of being by yourself. You have the fear of having nobody beside you. You have the fear of every single little thought, like, am I ever gonna like be with somebody ever again? And with that type of fear, you really gotta overcome it, knowing if your relationship is toxic. Now, in a sense, you learn from that relationship and you learn from those things. Once you've actually broke down the situation that you're in your relationship, or just in any situation in general, you will learn from that situation. You will learn from those things that you've been in through. So if your relationship was ever toxic and you feel like you've never had no respect in that relationship and you really felt like nobody cared, like the person didn't care for you, or you didn't feel loved, those are the things that you will notice. Then once you notice that, you start to notice the things that you truly mean. You start to notice the things that you truly care about. You start to notice the things that this is how I am. And it gets to the point where you understand yourself. So if you're a person that came out of a toxic relationship, knowing that you're serious and you don't like to play games, you're obviously going to start to understand you are the type of person that does not play games in a relationship. You're the type of person that takes it serious, because if you take it serious, you know you're going to love hard. Excuse me. If you know you're going to love hard, then it's okay to be picky in your relationship. It's very okay to be picky. Excuse me, because you understand the things that you like. You understand the things that you accept, and you understand the thoughts of you valuing yourself high enough to the point where I am the prize, and on top of that, I have done nothing wrong. Yes, you learn things in a relationship to improve yourself. To improve yourself, you understand that. But in reality, if you are, okay, now I'm gonna put this in different words. If you are the type of person to honestly sit up here and admit yourself to who you really are, you will understand that. You will start to know yourself more. You will start to care for yourself more. Because if you are the type of person, like I said, to be in a serious relationship, then 9 times out of 10, you will never play no games with any female. You will be strictly on that one thing. If I'm serious in a relationship, this is my goal. I'm gonna get this money, and me and her are gonna run it up with. Like, we just going straight up get this money. I'm serious about that. Now, if you tell her I'm serious about this, I am about my money, I am about building wealth, and I am about building a family, then that's you. You're serious about that. Everybody in this world is different. One person might not think that, but you think that because you know that you value yourself high. You know that you don't like no games. You know that you like to have something that's serious, something that everybody can relate to. Well, no, not everybody can relate to that. That's just something that's rare nowadays in mindsets. But with that being said, everybody is different. Nothing is wrong with you in your relationship. Now, I've made this statement that nothing was wrong with me in my relationship. It just got to the point where I had to grow spiritually and mentally and physically. In order for me to grow, I had to let that go. In order for me to know about myself, I had to let that go. In order for me to love myself, I had to let that go. Knowing that I've had a troublesome past. And from that further on, leaving that relationship, I became happy. I became understanding to the point where I understand myself. I understand what comes with dealing with me. Because for a fact, I'm my own person. I'm not like everybody else. I'm different from everybody else. And you have to separate yourself from that too. You have to separate yourself from everybody else. You have to. If you don't separate yourself from everybody else, everybody's just gonna be the same, normal. And I'm saying this in the fact, you don't want to be normal, but you don't want to be weird, goofy, and none of that. I'm saying you don't want to be normal to the point everybody is the same. No. I'm saying this to you, the person who's watching. There is nothing wrong with you at all. Nothing is wrong with you. You, for your own self, are exactly which you like to have, like you like to be. So if I was sitting up here and telling you in person, which is going to be I prefer that to be way better to tell you in person. Nothing is wrong with you. The things that you accept are what you accept. And the things that you do not like, it's just the things that you don't like. There's nothing wrong with that. Nothing is wrong with you. Now, if you love the person for years, then start to get that feeling there's something that I have to do. And if it doesn't involve you, then you know what? Talk to that person and tell that person that it does not involve you. I had to go separate myself from you because I'm growing spiritually and mentally. And I have to say I've had that feeling. But most likely, there'll be a part 2. There will be a part 2 of this. Because next time, my words is going to be, more correct. I'm gonna be able to speak more in depth. So yeah. Yeah. So I'm putting an outro on this one.
Left, right, when she check her ass cheeks, yeah, she's so nasty, yeah, she's so nasty, yeah, she's so nasty.